Happy Black History Month. Let's talk about the jazz musical lesbian power couple that everyone needs to hear about because more people need to know about this. Ernestine Tiny Carol Davis was born 1909 in Memphis, Tennessee. When she was 13, she asked her mother for a trumpet after seeing some boys at her school play one. In the 1930s, she moved to Kansas City and joined the Harlem Playgirls in 1935. She played with them until 1936 when she left to give birth to her daughter. At the same time, the Piney Woods Country Life School of Mississippi formed a 16-piece all-girl jazz band called the International Sweethearts of Rhythm in order to raise money for the school. When the International Sweethearts of Rhythm moved away from the school, hired professional musicians, and started touring nationally, Tiny joined the band as a trumpeter in 1941.
And I heard them advertise they wanted a girl trumpet player. I wrote to Miss Jones, and she said, okay. And she sent me a ticket and a little change, and she met me down to the station in Chicago. Picked me up at the station and took me over to the Grand Hotel, 51st and King Drive. And I met all those beautiful sweethearts, all those yellow and white and pretty gals, and I enjoyed it. And I went in there and started trying to blow that horn.
The International Sweethearts of Rhythm were the first all-female interracial jazz band, with members who were Asian, Black, White, Hispanic, and Native. They toured during World War II all over Europe performing for Black soldiers. The poor white soldiers missed out on these absolute legends because of racism. Tiny was such a star that even Louis Armstrong tried to hire her for 10 times her current pay. But as Tiny explained,
Well, I love them gals too much. What? Love them gals too much. They were some sweet gals, you know. I liked them.
while on tour in America after the war, during an after-party that Tiny organized, Tiny met Renee Ruby Lucas Felon, and the connection was instant. Renee Ruby Lucas Felon was born in Kansas City, Kansas. Sorry, information on Ruby is very thin on the ground. Ruby learned to play the drums, piano, and bass as a child. She earned her living driving people while moonlighting as a musician.
Ballet, the bass player, I was everything. Drove all over the United States. I did. Yeah. So I was.
I was so
After meeting Tiny, Ruby joined the International Sweethearts of Rhythm as a drummer. After the war ended, with the men returning home and tastes in music changing, gigs for the Sweethearts dried up and they disbanded in 1948. Tiny and Ruby started another all-female jazz band called Tiny and the Helldivers, although the records have them billed as Tiny Davis and her orchestra.
Yes, mama's round and brown, can roll just like a ball. She's got a lot to give, and daddy, you can have it all. Don't you worry about sugar, 'cause I've got it by the ton. No, don't worry about sugar, 'cause I've got it by the ton. So buzz me, baby, here's where you get your fun.
Tiny and the Helldivers toured America and the Caribbean with their home base being in Kansas City. But after several years, Tiny and Ruby were thrown out of Kansas City because gay.
So I was.
I was so
Tiny and Ruby set up shop in Chicago, Illinois. Sometime in the 1950s, they opened up Tiny and Ruby's Gay Spot, an LGBTQ+ bar that became a haven for the Chicago queer community. Tiny and Ruby played regular gigs at the Gay Spot until 1958, when the neighborhood was bulldozed to make way for the Dan Ryan Expressway. Tiny and Ruby continued playing professionally until Tiny's arthritis made it difficult for her to stand on stage for performances. The last time Tiny played for a performance was when the Jezebel Productions made a documentary on Ruby and Tiny in 1988. I highly suggest that everyone go and watch Tiny and Ruby, Helldivin' Women, and enjoy two old lesbians living their best lives with their daughter as true jazz legends. Tiny and Ruby were partners for over 40 years. Also, a great resource to check out this month is Sensei Ashitemasu's videos on hidden figures to learn more about other incredible figures in Black history. Well, I was stuck in bed, and you were stuck here with me, but now you may go and live your lives. Go, be cute, keep gay, be crime. Bye!
Julie, do the thing. Don't freak out. It's not real.